And now let's look at what the timesheet looks like. In the white cells, you can see basically what is in your AOLTI work schedule. Everything how it was scheduled. S start and SN stand for scheduled start and scheduled end, and A start and AN stand for actual start and actual end, so that you have to fill in. So the white cells are pre-filled and you can't really click on them. We already did that for you. And all the red and orange cells need to be filled at the end before you send your Excel timesheets back to AOLTI. All cells, all the red and orange cells need to be filled. No blank cells. In the gray cells, you might or might not have to put something. So let's start looking at this appointment series. As we can see, this is for one patient on the same day. And an appointment series is appointments for the same patient on the same day with up to 1 hour of billable wait time. So here we see in blue the start time for this appointment series is 3:30 p.m. and in red we see the end time for this appointment series is 8:30 p.m. This appointment series has 3 rows of appointments, and we start with entering the arrival time for the whole appointment series. So there's only one arrival time for the whole series, and I can't have any empty cells, so I need to enter it 3 times. That means I arrived at 3:20 p.m. and I will copy this time to the other rows of this appointment series. Now I will enter the start and end time. So I think the appointment started at 3:35 p.m. I'll enter that. Now what I see you guys do often, and please do not do it, is the series started at 3:35 p.m. and ended at 8:30 p.m. That does not make sense. As you can see, the minutes calculate something that doesn't make sense here. You do need to fill in every cell here. So for each appointment, we want to know how long it was and when it started and ended. So for thoracic head and neck, this appointment started at 3:35 and went until 4 p.m. And this infusion started at 4:45 p.m. and went until 6:30 p.m. And then it continued in infusion at 6:30 p.m. till, let's say, 8 p.m. Now you can see that the actual minutes for what you enter here will auto-calculate based on the times that you enter. This column serves as a self-check for you. For example, if you make a mistake in entering the times, for example, you forget to put the space. This is what happens. You can't see anything. So 3:35 without a space and PM will result in this. And that doesn't make sense to the computer. It can't calculate. This is not how you should enter. So put the space there and it will work. Or something else you could do wrong. You could maybe accidentally put AM instead of PM. Oops, 3:35 AM, not at SCCA. That's not when appointment starts usually. And you can see here appointment actual minutes above 500 don't make sense. So when you see something like this, 700, let's recheck this row and you recheck it and see, oops, this should be PM. If you don't like to work with AM and PM, you can also enter for military time, so 15:35 and enter will auto-calculate the AM PM time for you. That's also a possibility. Now let's see what happens if an appointment is late canceled per schedule. For example, this one. You can see under status, it was late canceled already per schedule, so I already filled it in for you. You don't need to do anything. You didn't arrive, not applicable, and actual start and end time are just like the schedule times. because I know it's late canceled, and yeah, and that's what we do for late cancellations. However, if there's an appointment that is late canceled on site, so AOLTI didn't even know about it, you arrive there and the appointment turns out to be canceled, then you will put a note here in the LCL on site column. Which note do you have to put? We can see that on this quick reference guide that Carla made for you, how to fill out your Excel, SCCA Excel timesheet. Here, this is new. In red, you can see what you have to put in the LCL on site column. So either clinic or patient, hopefully not interpreter no-show, INS, or if you really don't know what to put, if it's clinic or patient, then you can put O for other. But please try to stick with these. Most of the appointments will probably be canceled per clinic. That could be appointment done outside of scheduled time, or patient and provider dismissed interpreter. Provide name for the providers in that interpreter note section. So basically these comments here or suggestions that we gave you, you can take use of them and put them as an explanation in interpreter notes. Please, under interpreter notes, only put explanatory notes and brief notes, just like this. Not many words, but explaining what happened. Provider no-show, for example. Or patient, sometimes it could be canceled per patient if the patient doesn't show up, or the limited English proficiency caregiver didn't show for that appointment. You can put that explanation here, right? So here, clinic, and then provider no-show. So let's translate that into our actual appointment. We have a new appointment series here, 12:30 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. Let's assume the first infusion happened and we arrived at 12:20 p.m. The infusion started at 12:40 p.m. and went until 4 p.m. Now, the arrival time is always the same for the whole series, for all appointments on that series. So I will copy it and it will be the same for all 3 rows for the appointment series. However, something happened on that day and they had to rearrange the schedule. So the provider was no longer available and the clinic had to cancel this appointment. So I put clinic for cancellation per clinic, provider no show. So I know I cannot leave these blank. Orange cells need to be filled. So since I already said this appointment didn't happen by putting cancellation per clinic here, I will just fill in the scheduled time. So I will put 3 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. And this appointment didn't happen because clinic, medication not available. So something went wrong there. And 6:30 p.m. So again, I will indicate this appointment didn't happen, and then I'll just copy the schedule times to the orange cells. Now, what I do not want to see you do with interpreter notes is use them for things that are obvious. For example, I will say, if I say the interpreter, the appointment went longer than expected. I don't need to know that because I can see that from the scheduled times. Here I want to see an explanation. Maybe it went longer than expected because there was an extra appointment. So let's say for this 11 to 12 appointment, I arrived at 11 a.m. and the appointment started at 11:10 a.m. and it went longer until 1:45 p.m. so quite a bit longer. And then it was not cancelled, so I don't put anything here, but in the interpreter notes I'll put additional appointment, dress, I say what it was, dressing change from 12:30 to 1:45. And maybe I know the nurse that requested me to stay, and it was RN Maria Johnson. I want to emphasize again that every orange and every red cell needs to be filled in before you submit your timesheet. If there's any row that has an empty red or orange cell, we will treat that row as an interpreter no-show because we really need that information and we don't want to guess it. For example, if there is an on-site link cancellation per patient no-show, and you don't fill in your arrival time, this red cell right here, it looks like you did not arrive. So the appointment was canceled because no interpreter was present. Therefore, please always write down your arrival time. This way we have a record that you were there. Please also take a look at this overview of the instructions. It is a concise summary and a quick reference tool for what was discussed in the video. Now you know how to fill out your Excel timesheet. If you still have questions, especially at the beginning, please call or email me, Synne@AOLTI.